We're
Golden Debate Show.
Yeah, Summer League champion, Winter League champion MVP, Golden, podcaster of the year, producer of the year, rapper. Nah, man, we keep it golden. But yeah, we just stopped our GBS Winter Ball League. The Woods beat Drones by 2 games, but they did their thing. They definitely came back by a lot, made it interesting. So will you. Like, comment, share, and download. Stay golden and open minds, not empty ones, and never accept defeat. And always try for victory, but never vamp down to the vamp's levels. So let's shine the golden light on. EarlyMotorMod.com, like, comment, share, and download. Golden Show, Golden Debate Show. That's a lot of gold, everybody. Hold on.
The golden debate show. Yeah, the golden debate show. Golden show. Wow. Golden debate show. We gon' talk about this, talk about that. The golden debate show. Yeah, the golden debate show. Golden show. Wow. Golden debate show.
Back here for True Spring Radio. Now we've seen the effects of climate change over the past decade or two.
Look up Agenda 21. Stay golden. Open minds and empty ones. Knowledge and power.
The true engine of political response to climate change.
I want to tell everybody.
We've seen the one side jump on and beat the wagon about how we've got to have global agreements as soon as possible and force people into making changes. We've seen other sides repulsed by the idea of socially engineering society and controlling things to get things done. Now here's the latest from the London Telegraph by James Lovelock, who's been very much on the saving the world from climate change agenda. But he's now saying, we're a little too late, too much on trying to save the whole world through climate change. We've wasted time with a global agenda. We should move to city-based agendas, and we should have populations compact into cities and retreat to climate-controlled cities, kind of like giant air-conditioned population centers. And his argument's along the lines of, it would be great to reduce carbon emissions in the coming decades and, turn around climate change, but we've wasted valuable time, energy, resources, etc., and it sounds like a good idea to save the whole planet, but it hasn't been rational, and basically it's a foolish extravagance that leans towards, in his argument, northern ideologies. And he says instead that in a changing climate, cities are a better place because they're less vulnerable to external heat than are individuals. And that if most of us lived in cities, as we're pretty much doing now and will be increasingly doing in the future, well, this will be better because we can just regulate the climate of the cities, and that will be easier both economically and feasibly than trying to save the whole world. So we should all get in these population centers and let the rest of the planet go where it will. Well, that's a very interesting argument. I don't know really that it has any technical basis, but it's very much in line with the Agenda 21 platform that's based on a lot of these environmental pretexts and definitely upon corporate control. Now, if you haven't seen this before, it's America 2050. It's an offshoot of the Agenda 21 plan. It's part and parcel with Rockefeller Foundation, Ford Foundation funding. And look at what they're showing. They're showing the emerging mega regions in the existing population centers, like on the East Coast, the former industrial areas of the Great Lakes, Atlanta and the other areas of the South, Florida, its own area, the big areas of Texas, the Texas Triangle and the Gulf Coast, the West Coast, and especially Northern California, Southern California, and Cascadia, which is Seattle, and then also Washington and Oregon. And what these are is emerging megaregions where they're projecting that population is going to double or more by 2050. And basically, they're going to be pushing people out of rural areas and even more into the mostly already existing cities, all of which will be growing by leaps and bounds. I live here in Austin, Texas, where this agenda has been very much underway since at least around 1997, when they really started pushing for this agenda of smart growth and jumping on the idea that they wanted to build an Agenda 21 designed smart city where they could build big skyscrapers, compact in a lot of people, and bring in the kinds of services and ideas that people want from rural areas and other types of living, and dangle baubles and appearances of things as they get people to live in cities, travel by train, connect with other metro areas by train, plane, whatever, but less and less by automobile and less sprawled out. And whatever you think of that idea, it's going to mean a lot more people in small areas, while the wilderness is basically returned to wilderness and to federal land management control. We've seen that pop up this week with the fight in Nevada for grazing rights with cattle on federally controlled lands, right? It's a big agenda for them. It's been going on for a while. Maybe you've seen some of these maps before about the corridor system and the reserve system. They're going to build giant NAFTA superhighways up the vertical stripes of the different parts of the U.S., but more and more, the majority of the actual land will be rewilded and controlled on a global scale by the corporate entities, and the people will live in increasingly small areas that are basically cities. Okay, whatever. Interesting, right? And this guy's talking about literal climate-controlled cities. Well, how about this part of the agenda, which has already been flaunted in decades past? That's dome cities. That's how far smart cities can go. Once people are compacted in, living in bigger and bigger skyscrapers, once they find a way to spiral people into these pockets, they may actually build physical giant domes where they could quite easily, literally air condition the entire climate of cities.
Whatever. It's youtube.com/whatever. They basically put a hot chick out there in society, and they had her just try to pick up other girls and would see what would happen. Let's take a look.
Oh, damn, girl, you're looking real fine.
They don't think of it as sexual.
Thank you. You're welcome. Hi. Hi, my name's Andrea.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Taylor.
I
like your hair, it's pretty.
Thank you. I like your outfit, it's gorgeous. Could I possibly get your number?
Yeah.
To go out sometime?
Oh, I'm not. I'm just setting girls. Sorry.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You don't want to maybe try?
No.
It could be fun.
Sorry.
Well, can I get it and then we can just try maybe? Could I possibly get your number?
Sure.
Like a date?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'm open.
What is it?
360.
Nice to meet you. Okay, I'll call you.
There is something fundamentally different between men and women. Yeah. Is that what you just learned from watching that?
Has way better game than I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
Times 10. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's just... I kind of want to watch the rest of the video.
There's a lot more of that. Don't go there right now, but it's youtube.com/whatever. Yeah.
It's like she's got the kind of charm they can't make in a lab. You know what I mean? What I'm talking about.
There are some girls whose faces are blurred out and some whose aren't.
Yeah.
And I wonder what the conversation was afterwards. Like, because some of them are like, yeah, we'll try that out. I don't really swing that way, but I have a boyfriend and we'll try it. And then no blurred out face. So it's like, what was the producer saying to get them to sign that contract?
Right, to suddenly be like, I've never had a bisexual experience, but I don't mind putting it out there on a big YouTube channel that I would consider. That's pretty ballsy.
I mean, if a guy did that with other guys,
right? That's where I wanted to go. With
okay. What do you think the result? The result would be not good.
There would be a lot of teeth knocked out.
There'd be a lot of violence. Right. There'd be a lot of violence.
So what does this say about women and I guess fluidity in sexuality and that kind of thing?
I wouldn't know, but I think that it's cool to see a lot of open minds out there. Random on the street, open minds, right?
Yeah. Or what would forget the gay thing for a second. If it was a guy hitting on another guy, if you were to just walk up to women all day long and say you're beautiful, I'd like your number. How do you think that would go?
I'd probably get a lot of pussy. The point is, they know me from TYT. I'm not anonymous anymore. No, yeah. I think that she's non-threatening. See, guys are more, women have all their parts on the inside, guys have all their parts on the outside.
43-year-old Jimmy Fritz
I ever heard. Man has
Sweden has endured a nightmare that none of us
organs.
would wish upon our worst enemy, and he's living to tell about it. He, imagine this, he suffered a stroke, 43 years old, suffered a debilitating stroke. It took him an hour and a half to get him to the hospital because he was out on an island and he had to go by boat. So by the time he got to the hospital, he was completely paralyzed. And he had to deal with laying there completely paralyzed, listening to the doctors talk about taking his organs for donation because they thought he wasn't going to live. But he couldn't respond. That's a nightmare.
Yeah, I believe only his eyes and ears were somewhat functional, but everything else was completely frozen.
Yeah. He was in Sahlgrenska Hospital in Gothenburg, Sweden, and he was there. His family members were surrounding him, his girlfriend, because the doctors had told him there's very little hope. Now, communicate. He says, only my ears and eyes were working. They looked at an x-ray of my brain, and when they had done that, they told my girlfriend that it wasn't good and that I wouldn't live. I could hear her crying the whole time, but I couldn't do anything. And then he says, I heard them tell my girlfriend and my relatives that there was no hope. I was scared because I thought that I was going to die then, and a hard death. I remember I thought, what will happen if they cremate me? Will I see the fire? Will I feel the fire?
Here we go. Uncle Adam and Uncle Dan and AgendaShow.com.
For some reason, we don't know why this is being planted and who's planning it and how they do it.
Well, at this point, I think it's just to throw it in my face. Hey, Curry. Now, if you have this sophisticated piece of machinery that is supposed to transmit a signal, periodic signal at 37.5 kilohertz. I know a lot about transmitters. What is now being said is, well, maybe because of the battery ran out and then the frequency shifted. Are you kidding me?
No,
that is bullshit. And no one, even the guy who makes the machinery, is lying about it. Well, he won't even admit that this is happening when he's specifically asked the question, and I think it's only for, insurance reasons, but here he is with Aaron Burnett, the guy who he's from Duquesne Seacom, and she's going to ask him specifically, and he's going to he's going to avoid answering the question. And so this means that this 33.3 has been planted in there for a reason.
And there has been some discrepancy out there. Obviously, we know that the signal that has been picked up in both cases here by the U.S. Pinger locator was at 33.3 kilohertz. And usually a black box, such as the Pinger that you manufacture, would be 37.5. Does this discrepancy concern you, make you think that they're listening to the wrong thing?
Well, it's something that we need to study further. There's a lot of variables that come into play. Age of battery, depth of water.
Really? Age of battery?
Temperature of water, possible debris.
Or anything underwater.
Did you catch it?
Catch what?
Did you catch what he said?
He says it's a 33.3, which is the sound we normally don't hear.
33.3 what?
He said megahertz?
Yes. Hertz, not megahertz. Kilohertz, you douche. Megahertz.
Megahertz. That would be kind of hard to...
That would not travel very far underwater.
No, wouldn't get through
And
the
this
water.
is the Associated Press expert. So these things bother me because how can you trust anything else the Associated Press does?
I've done this myself, though. I mean, every once in a while I'm talking about hertz and megahertz, and I just drop megahertz in when it should be something else. I don't know. I give the guy a little pass.
I give the guy no pass. And I also don't give... Where is the analysis?
Now, the question, here's the no pass should go like this. Why didn't she call him on it?
Because it's a pre-produced package. She wasn't even there. She wasn't talking to him.
As a nation. Hello, everybody. It's pretty disrespectful to have taps playing in the back, though. Like, you to be talking while the taps are playing, in the back.
Mental health issues. To keep firearms out of the hands of those who are having such deep difficulties. As a military, we must continue to do everything in our power to secure our facilities and spare others this pain. We must honor these men by
yummy ingredients off of my
doing more to care for our
So
fellow
I'm not going to stick out the company, but I was eating some good old-fashioned mac and cheese. Everybody get your mac and cheese. And I was looking at the chemicals in the back, and I picked out, just a few of the chemicals.
I want to tell everybody.
These chemicals
I want to tell everybody here the truth.
Foods, of course, processed foods. So on top of the GMOs, the pink slime, all types of shit, it might as well be Soylent Green. We have to deal with this. Niacin, also called niacinatic acid. It is a B vitamin, B3, and it occurs naturally in plants and animals. It is also added to many foods as a vitamin supplement. It is also present in many multiple vitamins. The niacin side effects. Feeling like you might pass out, fast pounding or an uneven heartbeat, feeling like shortness of breath, swelling, jaundice, yellow of the skin or eyes, muscle pain, tenderness or weakness with fever or flu-like symptoms, dark urine, warmth or redness or tingling feeling under your skin, itching and dry skin, sweating or chills, nausea, diarrhea, belching, gas, muscle pain, leg cramps, or sleep problems. And that's just the niacin. Okay, here's ferrous sulfate. It is a type of iron. You normally get iron from the foods that you eat in your body. Iron becomes the part of the hemoglobin and myoglobin. Hemoglobin carries oxygen throughout the blood to tissues and organs. Myoglobin helps your muscle cells store oxygen. So here is the bad parts of it. Constipation, darker green stools, diarrhea, loss of appetite, nausea, stomach cramps, pain or upset stomach, vomiting. Side effects could be stained teeth or iron overload, which can even lead to kidney failure and liver. The liver is particularly susceptible to toxicity and iron overload statuses. Yummy, huh? Thiamine is a B1. Thiamine is found in foods such as cereals, whole grains, meats, nuts, beans, and peas. Thiamine is important to break down of carbohydrates from foods into products needed by the body. Here it is. Coughing, difficulty in swelling, hives, itching of the skin, swelling of the face, lips or eyelids, wheezing or difficulty breathing. Yummy. Riboflavin.
Down in one of those
Riboflavin is a B2.
There's other guys that they look like, I don't know. This don't make no sense, everybody.
Riboflavin really has no harm, except for it might cause your urine to have a more yellow color than normal. Folic acid. Folic acid is a pretty important one. It's also healthy for you. And it's kind of bad in a way, too. Too much of it, of course. It can actually stop your DNA. Check it out. Folic acid is a type of B vitamin that is normally found in foods such as dried beans, peas, lentils, oranges, whole wheat products, livers, asparagus, beets, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and spinach. Folic acid helps the body to produce and maintain new cells and also helps to prevent changes to the DNA. Fever. General weakness or discomfort, reddened skin, shortness of breath, skin rash or itching, tightness in the chest, trouble breathing, and wheezing. Tripolice phosphate, aka sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is a chemical name for salt. Sodium is an electrolyte that regulates the amount of water in your body. Sodium also plays a part in the nerve impulses and muscular contractions. Here it is, side effects. Diarrhea, gas, nausea, stomach discomfort, vomiting, severe allergic reactions
down
are
in
hives,
one of those catacombs.
Difficulty
There's
breathing,
other guys that they look
chest,
like,
swelling
I
of the
don't
mouth, face,
know.
lips, or
This
tongue,
don't make no sense, everybody.
Bloody stools, chest pain, lividness, numbness, tingling in your skin, the lips, hands, and feet, severe nausea, stomach pain, and vomit with stool coffee-like grinds. Sodium biphosphate, and this is, I'm only going to read this, there's probably 5 more. Sodium biphosphate and sodium phosphate are forms of phosphor, which is a naturally occurring substance that is important in every cell of the body. Sodium biphosphates, and sodium phosphates is a combination medicine used in adults to treat constipation and to clean the bowel before colonoscopies. Yummy. And they put this already, and this was my mac and cheese, and they put it in almost everything. Severe allergic reactions are hives, tightness in the chest or throat, swelling of the mouth, face, lips, tongues, burning, numbness, tingling of the lips or tongue, fainting, irregular heartbeat, seizures, severe or persistent nausea, and sleep pattern eruptions. So, there's also calcium phosphate, lactic acid. It's just wonderful, all the stuff that we eat, and that's on top of them not even being real foods because some of them are genetically modified. And then the pollution within the air and the water is polluted, as well as they put fluoride in it. You can look up fluoride. There's a reason why your toothpaste says to only use a fucking pea-sized amount, if not, call a doctor. So it's just amazing that, the shit that we deal with and how we live, and that I'm the asshole that's trying to tell people how to, what they're doing to us and how to be more golden. I'm the fucking bad guy. I'm the fucking conspiracy theorist. I'm the bad guy. Fuck that. These people are lying to us and they're misleading us, and that's the fucking pure fact. So like, comment, share, and download Golden Debate Show. CBS Winter League basketball is also over. The Golden Gods won. Me and Capo defeated Mike and Tone. It was a great season, and the guys really put on a good show. They came back hard at the end. We won the 2 games.
The armed
and,
federal agents that descended upon the
in.
Clark County, Nevada ranch of Cliven Bundy to steal his, round up,
trespassing
his,
little
quote,
Moses over there.
trespassing cows.
Yeah, Mark Dice Clip always watch out for him. This one's actually a good one, and
public land
I guess they're going to stop fucking with that ranch.
Have retreated. And the Bureau of Land Management, the BLM,
really owns the fucking land, man. Native Americans believe no one did.
Have
more with
called
that
off
than
the cattle roundup,
actually, but
largely
whatever.
because the story got such national attention, and so many people started coming to the aid of Cliven Bundy, including armed militiamen. And the government didn't want to have another Waco incident that was live streamed over the internet. But the battle is
to
far
intimidation
from
and accused of assisting a criminal
Edward
by the
Snowden.
authorities in the U.S. and beyond.
And Quang
Yet the two journalists who broke the NSA surveillance scandal returned to the U.S. for the first time to accept a prestigious journalism award for their work with Edward Snowden. As RT's Anastasia Churkina reports, the debate started by their actions to expose top-level misdeeds is now stronger than ever.
June this year will mark the first anniversary since the major NSA surveillance scandal was leaked by former CIA contractor Edward Snowden and spread throughout the world by journalist Glenn Greenwald and his colleagues through their investigative reporting. This Friday, Glenn Greenwald returned to the United States, his homeland, for the first time since the NSA scandal broke.
How was your return back home? Did you experience any difficulty at the airport?
No, it was very smooth, which is what we expected, which is why we came back, because we didn't think that the U.S. government would do something really counterproductive, and they didn't, so we're happy about that.
We've seen Glenn Greenwald and his colleagues attacked and accused of being traitors, accused of being criminals and accomplices, and possibly questions were raised on whether they should be tried in the United States for doing their job. And certainly this has started a whole major debate on the role of journalists in modern society and being intimidated for telling the truth.
There are ways to intimidate journalists. You can imprison them en masse, but there are other ways to do it. And calling journalists working on stories accomplices, or having powerful chairmen of committees specifically accuse journalists of being criminals and advocating for the prosecution, or having major media figures openly debate whether we ought to prosecute it, is a way to intensify that climate of fear.
With all of these tactics of fear being used against journalists, Glenn Greenwald did say that it was a matter of principle to return to the United States. But of course, none of the information that was revealed would have been brought into the light without Edward Snowden.
Thought fucking police. Guard your thoughts. The Thought Police have now entered. Stay golden, y'all. EarlyBirdAbout.com, Golden Show, Golden Debate Show. Like, comment, share, and download as much as you can, and shine the gold on these vamps. Let's do it. Hide in the darkness. Don't be scared, y'all. Thought Police.
That he's a constitutional attorney and president of the Rutherford Institute, the organization that has defended Brandon Robb. This is John's first TV interview since the judge ordered Brandon's release today.
It's about a guy who's posted stuff on Facebook, and he got locked up. Feds came and seen him. You talking shit about us, boy? Hashtag fan pages is not me. Keep going up.
What I might be missing, because
no, you ain't keeping it golden.
I have to tell you, and maybe you can help me on this. I don't think I've ever heard of this kind of stuff happening in America until recently. Have you?
Well,
Yeah, it happens. There's about 20,000 civil commitments alone in Virginia each year. So what happened here is Brandon's mother went on Facebook and started yelling about it, and that got people up in arms. But there are a lot of people this happens to, thousands across the United States. Yes, just like I said, his mother got out there on the web and talked about it, and I contacted her. So a veteran called me and said, "John, you got to look into this matter." I called and talked to her, and I said, "You got to be kidding. It was over Facebook posts?" If you know what happened was he was picked up last Thursday by the FBI and the local police. He saw him drive up in front of his house, and he got out, and he was in his shorts. He walked down the front porch and said, "What's up, guys?" He said, "You've been posting some things on Facebook that are very controversial." So while he was talking to him, they surrounded him, put his hand behind his back, handcuffed him. They wouldn't let him put his clothes on, and they put him in the police car. You can watch the YouTube video. His brother's girlfriend took the video of the whole event. Took him to a psychiatric ward. He had a 15-minute examination by a psychologist, and he was committed to a mental institution. We had a hearing Monday, and they posted out all these so-called posts he made, but they were on a private Facebook grouping he had with his brother and his sister, and they were playing a game called Dear Illuminati, where they would say things to each other, and they were song lyrics. I mean, some of them were violent type of song lyrics, but, you know, you can go back to the Rolling Stones and Beatles and get violent song lyrics. So that's what happened, and that was the evidence against him.
Okay, so two things. One,
you don't believe that Liz Cheney is the only person
is a monster.
with a perspective
Vampires don't believe in torture.
Our history using torture or enhanced interrogation in the U.S. Very interesting, man. Senator Angus King, independent in the U.S. Senate, was on MSNBC talking about it. And so it was brought up that Dick Cheney, expert on torture, since he's authorized so much of it, does not think that waterboarding is actually torture. And Angus King has a great response to that.
It's shocking, and frankly, I was stunned to hear that quote from Vice President Cheney just now. If he doesn't think that was torture, I would invite him anywhere in the United States to sit in a waterboard and go through what those people went through, one of them 100 and plus odd times. That's ridiculous to make that claim. This was torture by anybody's
Warning,
definition.
I'm going to try to read.
John
So
McCain
let me read a little bit of
shockingtimes.co.uk
to
know that than Vice
Let's
President
get it
Cheney.
in.
I was shocked at that statement that he just made.
So that's definitely not God. Dick Cheney, you're a vampire. Sex toy floods home after being flushed down the leave. We should all know what it is and can't be flushed down the toilet. However, it seems some people are blissfully unaware of it until it causes a blockage causing the flooding home. So that ain't good. And how about the life of the Ultimate Warrior, formerly known as James Hallwig? Best known as a superstar wrestler who did change his name legally to Ultimate Warrior. The Ultimate Warrior died on Tuesday in Arizona at the age of 54. He is known as one of the best wrestling entertainers of all time and was introduced into the WWE Hall of Fame just 3 days before his death. Rat scares wimpy NY subway passengers. Some of these I already read. See if I can read a few of these. The U.S. government versus a cattle rancher. Wake up, America. They're taking everything away from us. Our intelligence agencies are using the Heartbleed security bug in November 2013.
Hi, everybody.
New project tackles inherent risk to your privacy from electronic medical records. Our black budget
I want to tell everybody. I want to tell everybody here the truth.
Rouch did drug trial resorts. Pandemic flu drug works no better than Astrominofen, which is aspirin. I can't read today. Breaking Clark Coker says BLM will cease operation. Friday Night News dump. FAA establishes a no-fly zone over the Brady Ranch, Arizona. That's almost getting as annoying as the plane thing. Malaysia plane in the ranch. Malaysia plane in the ranch. How Washington and its allies use social media to topple governments and manipulate public opinion. Turn off the screw to Clive Buddy's standoff. Damn again. U.S. corn exports to China drop 85% after ban on GMO strains, industry reports. That's cool. China rejection of shipments of U.S. corn containing traces of unapproved genetically modified maize has caused a significant drop in exports.
The obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources through an emergency network hookup to keep you informed of all developments.
The ghost and the darkness have come.
We can't be golden. We want title. Golden. Like, comment, share, download. I'm done. That's only to keep free thought alive. Golden Show. EarlyMorningMob.com.
Yeah, yeah, what are you talking about? Talking about, talking about. Yeah, yeah, what are you talking about? Talking about, talking about. Yeah, yeah, what are you talking about? Talking about, talking about. Yeah, yeah, what are you talking about? Talking about, talking about. Yeah, yeah, what are you talking about? All that talking like this, like that. All that in your hood. Golden shows, golden roads, strobe lights, laser lights. Look at my gold, critical tonight. Apple shit, one morning, tone it up. You know he said, we're talking like this, talking like that. We're talking. Golden debate show, golden debate show, golden debate show. We got this, we're talking hood, draw the line. MC better talk with big chat. You know we're coming out the best. Golden show, golden birds.
Down there in one of those calicoes. There's other guys that they looks like, I don't know. This don't make no sense to everybody.